Yo, what's up, everybody? Today is Tuesday, June 7th, 2011. You're listening to episode 157 of On Tap. And, I'm Dale Coulis. And, last episode, he had such a ball doing the basketball video game retrospective. I brought back one Mr. Steve Allerid. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
And the reason I brought back Steve-O here is for the football video game retrospective. If you look on our index of our favorite episodes over on our website at ontappodcast.com, we kind of did retrospective for all the sports ones, and, last episode we did a basketball retrospective. This episode we're going to do a football game retrospective. The first one we did, probably within the first year of the podcast, wasn't even really a retrospective. I think it was on me and former VG Pub admin, John. We just kind of did our current take on the state of football video games and maybe listed a few of our favorites, so, this one we're going to be a little more comprehensive, but kind of like last episode, we're not going to cover every football video game ever made. God knows how long that would take. Like we did the comic book game episode, that would take many, many hours, and that would bore you to death. But we're just going to talk about our memories of the favorite ones we played over the years, and maybe reference a few other noteworthy ones if we haven't played them. But yeah, should be a good time though. Thanks again for coming on and doing this, Steve.
Oh, no problem.
Cool. Well, before we dive into the pigskin fun here, why don't we kick things off with what we've been playing lately, like we did last time? So, Steve, what games have been taking up your time as of late?
Well, I just purchased All-Pro Football 2K,
yeah,
which we'll probably be talking about later. I've been playing that. Playing some Modern Warfare 2 campaign mode.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got into SmackDown vs. Raw 2011 more.
Yeah, the mic a little closer if you want.
So I kind of pushed that game back. Didn't want to play it, so I kind of got back into playing some SmackDown vs. Raw.
There you go.
Yeah, you can never go wrong.
I'm going to do my match with the Macho Man, brother.
Oh,
Ooh, yeah.
You got your created version of Macho Man?
Yeah, it's awesome.
Nice.
He does the flying elbow drop.
Heck yeah. Anything else you've been playing?
Not lately. Oh, actually, I got on an old school NES and played some Arch Rivals.
Oh,
Going back to our day of talking about basketball.
Kind of convinced you to try it?
Yeah.
Do you actually have the NES version?
I have the NES version.
Oh, wow. How's it hold up?
Good. Really good. I love it.
Very cool. That's one I don't think usually when I see the NES bins at, garage sales or the local used game stores, I rarely come across Arch Rivals. I don't know why. That's one I need to pick up if I see it. Cool, man. All right. Well, I kind of got a big old fun list of stuff here, as usual. Let's see. I've been doing quite a bit of DS gaming actually. Since our last episode, I guess since we last recorded, I have beaten Batman: Brave and the Bold, which is a fun little side scroller by Way Forward. Figured about time I breezed through that, and it's a good side scrolling Batman game. So if you happen to run across it, I recommend picking it up. Of course, you can hear me talk more about it on the last installment we did of the comic book video game retrospective, which was several episodes ago. Also played Last Window on there quite a bit, the sequel to Hotel Dusk. Put an hour into it earlier today, actually, and man, that game's great. Just having a blast, indulging in the story and all the characters again, just like it was with the first Hotel Dusk. If you like very story-driven, narrative powered games, Last Window and Hotel Dusk, you can't go wrong with those two. I'm playing a ton of other stuff too here. On the PC, StarCraft 2. First time throwing that in a while. You ever play like the original StarCraft at all, Steve, or the sequel?
Not played any of them.
Yeah, I mean
But I've heard great reviews on them.
Oh, dude, they're good stuff. Joey actually came by here a week or two ago, and he has a Mac Mini now, and he hooked it up to my TV, and the Mac Mini could run StarCraft 2 good. I watched it in action. He hooked it up with the HDMI cable, and I was playing it. We played over Battle.net, and just killed some computers for a couple hours. Good fun.
Let's see here. I beat on the 360 and PS3 here, focusing it to the console side of things. I beat 50 Cent Blood on the Sand. I don't know. Have you played that one, Steve?
No, I wanted to. I played the bulletproof one.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think I remember you telling me you played the original 50 Cent game. And if I remember, I never played the original one, but I remember hearing kind of mixed things on that one.
I didn't mind it. But
dude, I remember hearing a lot of people saying this one, the new one, is way better than the original, and this one is, I don't know if the first one was like this, but it's kind of like a lot like Gears of War, a cover-based third-person shooter. Just crazy in-your-face action, standard type of weaponry you see in a Gears style or Uncharted game, like your shotguns, your assault rifles, power rifles. Just this crazy over-the-top story, and oh man, I had a lot of fun with it. It has a co-op mode, so I think I want to play through it again in co-op. And if you don't mind all the hip-hop, gangsta style rap culture or whatever, and hey, I'm not a big rap or hip-hop fan myself. I mean, I don't mind it, but I don't hate it, but I don't mind it either. I really dug the game, and I just thought it was completely over the top and fun, and just had a great time with it. So if you're craving a Gears style game before Gears 3 or Uncharted 3 hits this fall, 50 Cent is definitely right up your alley. Like you, Steve, I'm playing a little wrestling on the side here too. WWE All-Stars. I got through all the Path of Champions modes. I beat the last one just a few days ago with the DX storyline. I'm actually trying to work on 1,000 gamer scoring the game, so I only got a few achievements left to work through, so thank goodness for that. Here's a oddball game out of left field. Sherlock Holmes versus Jack the Ripper. Have you heard of this one, Steve?
I've heard about it, but never played it or saw photos of it.
Yeah, it didn't get much publicity. It came out about a year ago. I think I want to say it was right around the time when that Sherlock Holmes movie hit theaters, or maybe on video. No relation to the movie. It's actually published by the Adventure Company, and usually they publish your traditional point-and-click style adventure games on the PC. And this is the only one they brought to 360, and I kind of got a couple hours into it just a couple days ago, actually, and it's point and click, and on the console, I've seen other games make the point and click interface work better. The camera can kind of get in your way, but it wasn't too bad. I like adventure games, and I had to reference walkthrough ones because there's this one crazy ass lock puzzle. You had to figure out the code and then give you a hint for the code at all. It was just trial and error, and I hate trial and error puzzles. I don't want to sit there forever trying out random combinations on a fucking save. Screw that. Okay. Let's see here. Played a few racing games. I've been a big racing kick still since seeing Fast 5 in the theater. Since our last show, I've been putting a lot of time into Fuel, a game by Codemasters, which is it's like a big-ass open-world rally racing game. And you can just drive around the country or get to do random races wherever, and so yeah, imagine Grand Theft Auto meets MotorStorm, and there you go. It's not too bad, and I want to say I remember seeing a stat saying it's like one of the biggest open world games out there, which is crazy. So yeah, Fuel, not too bad. And Project Gotham Racing 4, I kind of threw it in the backlog, just kind of picking random racing games, and I think it was one of those ones when I first got it, I played it for like maybe an hour and never went to it. Kind of forgot about it, unfortunately. Glad I went back to it because I'm having a lot of fun with it. I don't know, you ever play the Project Gotham racing games on Xbox or 360, Steve?
Yes, I really enjoyed them. Joey actually got me into them.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
I remember I played 3 online with him a few times. He loves those cat and mouse online modes on there. I know he was a fan. Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Oh yeah, Mod Nation Racers on PS3. Played that a little bit too. So I think that about does it. So oh yeah, one last one. I played with Joey on the PS3. Dead Nation. I took advantage of you heard all the PS3 on the PS Network was down, Steve, right?
Yeah, I heard someone hacked into it and destroyed it.
Well, the PlayStation Store finally came back online about a week ago, maybe a little more, a little less, or earlier than that. But as part of their welcome back, they're calling it campaign, or AKA We're Sorry campaign. Everything happened the way it did. They offered a few free games to download. Dead Nation was one of the ones I picked up, and Joey and I threw it in for a couple hours. And you remember, like, Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance? You ever play those hack and slash, medieval times?
Yes, I love that
Go
game.
through dungeons. Imagine that, but modern setting. Instead of swords and axes, you got fucking guns. And instead of your traditional enemies like monsters and ogres and goblins and whatever, it's just zombies.
Nice.
And I was surprised I had a lot of fun with it as I did. I remember hearing good stuff about it going in, but no, it just seems like pop culture's been going crazy with zombies the last several years, and it's like, oh, another zombie game. Okay. But no, it delivers. If people haven't taken advantage of their free PS3 games yet, I highly recommend it. But yeah, that does it. So I think we're about ready to dive into the football video game retrospective here, Steve. And Steve, I'm just going to throw this to you, kind of kick it off like we did last time. Just kind of ask you, what got you into football games growing up? Do you remember what your first football game was that kind of turned you on to the genre? Or?
Probably Tecmo Bowl.
Well, there you go.
Or 10-yard fight. It was one of those, between those two. I don't know, those two, that's what got me started playing football games, and then all of a sudden I just kept sticking to them.
Right. Yeah, I think for me it was, I have some vague memories of first playing like maybe like the original Tecmo Bowl and a 10-yard fight even in the arcade, and maybe some like the early Maddens at friends. But I think the first one I played to death and really regularly was play action football on the Nintendo. So that was the one that kind of got me in, and playing that co-op with my dad a lot. So yeah, that was the first one that got me hooked. So cool. Trying to remember. Okay, yeah. So I don't know, Steve. Here's a crazy question. Even though I send my first memories of playing football games around the NES, I actually did somehow play football video games on the Atari. Do you got any memories of playing football games on the Atari or any of those like first gen systems?
No, I don't remember. I remember there was a football game on Atari, but I don't remember it.
And the two I played were I played the original one called just Football, and that one came out in the 70s, and the first couple years of the Atari was out. Or the VCS, as it was also known. That one sucked. Stick figure players, very limited movement. It's like, where's the field? I think it was like, maybe 3-on-3? And, it was not that fun. The second game I played, I actually remember liking somehow. And I looked up footage on YouTube yesterday just to refresh my memories. And that was Real Sports Football. Came out in 82. Still, it was only like 5-on-5 football. And the animation was just not that advanced. I mean, the graphics are still not that advanced. Still stick figures, though there was actually side-scrolling. I remember, players would run down the field with the ball. And, if you use your imagination, you can kind of tell what's going on. And for an Atari game, I think that's all you can ask for. So, for that era, I guess I remember having a good time with it. I just kind of looked up research. Atari released one more football game. I found this fascinating. The game was called Super Football, and it came out in 1988. They were still making games on the Atari in 1988.
Wow. A
few years when NES Mania was running wild, and the Atari was all but a footnote at that point. Holy crap. And, I also thought it was worth mentioning that the Intellivision, you ever hear of the Intellivision, Steve?
Yeah.
It was kind of like a big competitor with the Atari for a little while. It had its own football game that was kind of like a big deal with the Intellivision. Everyone said it had the better sports games. It was capable of slightly better graphics of the Atari because it came out later, so people got a little more out of the graphics and whatnot. And people said the sports games played better controls with the Intellivision's controller and all that. And they actually had the first ever licensed home video game football game called NFL Football in 1979. So Yeah. Crazy.
All I remember, like, back in those days was, like, the handheld games, and it had, like,
Oh,
the red
yeah.
dots.
The Tiger Electronic
Yeah.
games. I remember playing those. Yeah. Yeah. Before I had my first Game Boy, I played the crap out of those handheld electronics. Baseball, wrestling. Oh, yeah. Many memories. All right. Well, let's move on to the era we probably grew up with here. Or we did grow up with, the NES and the Sega Master System. Well, let's just mostly focus on the NES because that's what we pretty much played. So you said for you, Steve, 10-Yard Fight
Yep.
and Tecmo Bowl?
Yeah.
What about those games stood out to you?
I don't know, mostly Tecmo Bowl stood out for me.
The first Tecmo Bowl you're
Yeah.
talking about, right?
Yeah, and then I kind of got into the Tecmo Super Bowl when they made that.
After the fact, yeah.
And I just loved how, like, the motions were. You could run all the way to one end zone, throw a touchdown.
Dude, okay, a quick sidebar. I remember, here's a sad fact. I played Tecmo Bowl back in the day, but I did not play Tecmo Super Bowl for the first time until like maybe 4 or 5 years ago. Against Steve here. I was just playing games with Steve one day, and he's like, I never played it, let's play it. First play the game, you're like at the 30-yard line or whatever, and you're like, Dale, watch this. I'm like, Steve, what are you doing? Why are you running backwards? Dude, that's stupid. Why are you running all the way back to your own end zone? And then all of a sudden, you pass a ball, and the ball is just literally end zone to end zone, 100-yard pass. Unfucking believable.
And it was so easy to, like you could pick, like, a team. Like, you could be, like, Walter Payton on the first one. Mm-hmm. Or, like, on the second one, you pick, like, Thurman Thomas or
Bo Jackson
and do zigzags up and down the field and get an easily touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, the little plays where, like, you have two wide receivers high-fiving, running back.
Yeah.
Like, those little cutscenes were awesome.
Tecmo, like we said on the last episode, they always had those awesome cinematics.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were cool. Yeah, I thought that was cool. And just that, I think the cool thing about all the Tecmo games, which not many other people did, like most of their games were always, they always had the horizontal side view, that trademark view. And just amazing how much information they got on a football screen. Or on your television screen. And, 11 on 11 football, too. I think that was the first I might be maybe mistaken, but the first Tecmo Bowl, I think, may be the first game to have 11 on 11 football on the NES. So, yeah, and it was also Tecmo Super Bowl, first console game where you can do a season mode.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And it had battery back memory, so it saved your progress and your stats and all that too, just unprecedented. So, really cool. You still play it regularly at all?
Oh, that's one of my favorite all-time games I played.
10-Yard Fight, I remember that game being very, very unique to control. Limited number of players. I remember doing passing plays was weird, controlling the receiver and all that, and getting him to run a route a certain way. And very clunky to control, but I think just because of the fact I think it was like the first football game I played on the NES, I must have played it to death. I don't know, do you got any memories about 10-Yard Fight?
Not really, but I kind of remember you have to, like, move your receiver and that. It was kind of difficult controlling, but it was fun.
Yeah. For the 80s, it sufficed. Alright. You got another one on the NES, Steve?
On the NES, John Elway's quarterback.
Okay. Yeah, I remember renting it once, but
I loved it. I
don't have a
playing
clue.
that. It was pretty fun.
I don't remember how it actually played.
There was really no teams, like big name teams, but you could tell what they were.
Were they just named after cities?
Yeah, they were named after cities, and then there was only like a Denver team, of course, at John Elway. But it was fun. It was a good, awesome game.
Hell yeah. We mentioned how there was an NFL football on the Intellivision. There's also a generic NFL football on the NES. I remember renting it, like I did John Elway's quarterback. Do not remember a thing about it. A long time ago. I I guess last game I know I referenced to is what really got me hooked on football games, but Play Action Football on the Nintendo. I loved that game.
That was actually on my list.
The game's pretty unplayable. If anyone would go who hasn't played it today, will go and check it. But the game, probably like the only football game and its successor, were the only ones that I remember that did the isometric perspective of the camera. That already made it unique. And so you had that diagonal view of the action. It was 11 on 11 also. And like Tecmo Bowl, the first one anyways, it had only had like 8 teams, only named after cities, but it had the actual players. So like John Elway and Young and Montana were in there. You can actually do substitutions also, which was a cool deal. I remember getting a kick out of that. And there was like a 10-game Power Bowl mode, and but not really a tried and true season mode. And I think you had to do a password for it. And there's little cutscenes too for touchdowns and big run plays and stuff like that. I just love that stuff.
I'm just thinking of it right now.
And I played it to death with my dad too. And you could play 2 players on a team, or against each other, or 2-on-2 up to 4 players. Nintendo made a big deal at the time for it being one of its first 4-player games. But the big detriment to that game, which I actually thought was part of its charm, but no game would get away with this today. Steve, do you remember if there's one thing to nitpick about Play Action Football, what it would be?
Not really.
The players ran slow as molasses.
I was going to say, it was something about with the slow.
Yeah. I'm not kidding. If you were to start a running play, and if you were to run from one end of the field to the other, it would take, I want to say about 3 whole minutes.
Yeah.
I'm not kidding. 3 whole minutes. That is no exaggeration. And there's even a turbo button for the players, too. And that's factoring that in. The turbo would wear out after you'd press it like 5 or 6 times. But I say that works to its advantage in some weird oxymoronic way, because when me and my dad played it cooperatively, I'd do a little screen pass. I'd hand him off the ball or give him a little lob, little pitch there, and he'd start running, and I'd switch to a different player and I'd block for him. And it'd be like playing a level of Mario. He'd be working his way up the field, a couple yards at a time, and I'd just keep blocking for him. And I just found it to be an awesome adventure to block for him while he worked his way upfield. And
I still own that game.
Yep, same here. I got the box and manual for it. I love the artwork on it on the front. So, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The passing, like actual passing game in there was kind of bad. I remember because, yeah. The game would zoom out when you go into passing mode, and all the players all of a sudden turn into stick figures, and yeah, I had no idea if the pass would ever go through or not. Yeah, so passing kind of sucked. But, yeah, it's probably my favorite football game of that era. And I guess I got one other one to pick. Tecmo Super Bowl 2010. You're like, what? I think I referenced this on Lay's Midwest Gaming Classic episode we did, but there's this third-party company that makes unlicensed Nintendo reproduction cartridges. Pretty much are, they'd take like Japanese games, bring them over, and translate them to English, put them on cartridge. And they'll also do some other fancy side projects, some homebrew games, and one of them is doing a Tecmo Bowl with updated rosters. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, I gotta get in on that. And I was just playing it last night, kind of getting acquainted with it. I never really had a chance to throw it in yet. And it's exactly what you think it is. Tecmo Bowl with all 32 current teams. They even got the current logos in there for all the teams and the current rosters for as many players they can fit on there. I was checking all the rosters to make sure they were accurate for at least up to that season. So, yeah, it was awesome. And no enhanced graphics or extra plays or anything like that, but it was cool playing one of your old school favorites like that, like both current rosters. So
I'll have to try that out.
Let me see. Steve, did you ever do that with because I know a couple times over the years for some of the Madden games they had an extra feature where they had like 16-bit Madden but with updated rosters for that season. You ever do a mode like that or whatever?
No, I didn't really spend much time on that. I just basically focused on the real games.
Right. Cool. Awesome. Well, let's... Oh, yeah, I kind of referenced a couple on the Master System, even though I've never played the Master System at all. It's probably like the only home console I really haven't ever had a chance to try, outside of emulation, of course. But I got 3 football games for the Master System, all put out by Sega. Great Football, Walter Payton Football, and the first Joe Montana Football, which was a part of the Genesis game. So with that, let's get to the 16-bit era. On the TurboGrafx 16, I got one football game. I actually played, I own it, TV Sports Football, and it's not that good. I bought it a couple years ago when I got a TurboGrafx, and just couldn't get into that one. So maybe it was good back in the day, but controls were clunky, and I never really even had a true feel for what I was doing, but I don't know. Let's go to your list, Steve. What do you got for one of your 16-bit era games?
One of mine that was my favorite was Troy Aikman Football.
Oh yeah, I own that. I played it quite a bit too. Well, what do you remember about that game specifically?
I hardly remember it, but I remember playing the time out of that game. Spent massive hours on that. It was kind of weird but interesting game. Yep,
I remember playing it a bit, cause like, alright, I need something else in Madden to mix it up. And, I remember it looked good, but I don't remember it being as well playing as Madden. Remember there's just NFL teams, no players outside of Troy Aikman, of course. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely wasn't a superior game. I don't remember it being horrible either. You got another one?
Let's see. Oh, Dion Sanders Primetime Football.
Okay. Yeah,
I played a lot of hours on that.
Oh, crap.
I love that game. That was like my favorite Genesis game.
Okay.
Football game.
Anything particular remember about that one standing out, making it stand out above?
It was kind of like Madden, but it was just more fun to play.
More pick up and play kind of. Just, alright, here's your football, go. Screw the menus, play football. Alright. I guess one for me as well. I'll just start off with Super Play Action Football. And I remember when I finally got this, I was like thinking, alright, love Play Action Football, but Super Play Action Football. Power of the SNES. And it had some intriguing features too that the 8-bit one didn't. It had all 32 NFL teams, but no players. It had the numbers. It had the numbers matching. I remember, just being a big Niners fan, and I'm like, all right, numbers match up. They got Young's number, Montana's number. They match up. Good deal. And so I guess I'll take that. So yeah, you had the NFL teams in there. It was cool, and you had a season mode. They brought over too. So they had the season mode, and battery back memory, save your season progress and your stats too. So I thought that was cool. Oh, stat based progress for a season mode. Cool. I actually played a season in it. And but besides all the NFL teams, they also had I can't think of another football game to do this. But they also had college football and high school football you can play in there. And for college, all it was they didn't have the actual colleges in there, but I want to say they had a shitload of them. Maybe at the time all the Division I colleges, I remember there being something like 90 or 100 and some Division I, or 100 some college teams, and I'm guessing they must have been the Division I college teams at the time, but I don't think they actually have the actual college names in there, obviously. They just had generic names. But and then there was also high school football mode, and all that was just 4 random high schools, and then you could create your own. So you could create the uniform on one, and that's what I did. So, I mean, I thought it was cool, and the players still ran slow as hell, but, they were faster, but not by much. So instead of taking 3 minutes to run across the field, it'd take like a minute and a half. So, still bad by today's standards, but hey, baby steps. Baby steps. And the passing game was actually somewhat more manageable this time around, so I liked it. It was cool. But at that time, bigger and better games were out, like, give me another game, Steve.
Bill Walsh College Football.
Ah, there you go, yep.
I loved playing that. That was like a Madden-type game.
It was by EA Sports. That's how their first couple of college games were called, if I remember right, they did Bill Walsh College Football and Bill Walsh College Football 95.
94.
There's 94 and a 95, I want to say.
It was awesome.
I never played any of the 16-bit ones. You know, what made them stand apart? Did they do anything to make them stand apart from the
Not
NFL
really.
ones, other than obviously the teams?
Not really. It's just, it was probably...
No, like, fight songs in there or anything?
No.
Oh, wow. I was kind of reading up some random old reviews online the other day with Bill Walsh games, and, like, they had Bill Walsh College Football 94 95, and then they changed the name. They called them College Football USA 96 and 97. And it sounded like the later games added, like, the 4 main bowl games and more college teams, like 90-some teams, and actual more fight songs, more college pageantry that we get in today's college football games. So, yeah. Because, yeah, didn't, like, the first Bill Walsh College Football only had, like, 30 or 40 teams?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I never played the other than, you know, Super Play Action Football's college mode. I never really got a chance. You play any of the other college football games on the
No,
era?
not really. Just Bill Walsh.
Cool. Awesome. Well, how about Tecmo Super Bowl on the 16-bit era? They released 3 of them. 1, 2, and 3. And I own Tecmo Super Bowl 3. I only had a chance to play it briefly. I never really played it to death because I got it way after the fact. I think maybe just a few years ago I was looking in the bins and I was like, oh, Tecmo Super Bowl. I should get it for the 16-bit era. I bet the game's looks way better and plays way better than the NES version. I don't know. Did you ever play in the Tecmo Super Bowls?
I didn't play the SNES versions.
Or Genesis?
The Genesis I did play. I didn't mind it. I still love the NES version's a lot better.
That's where it all started.
Yeah. You gotta go where it began.
Yeah. Cool. Alright, Steve, give me another one.
I wasn't a big fan of this game, but I played it and I might just throw it on there. Emmett Smith Football.
Okay, yep, I remember running across that one in research. I never tried it,
It
though.
wasn't that great of a football game.
He's like, oh, Troy Aikman has his own game. I need my own game. He just couldn't stand up to the champ. Alright. Let's see here for another one I got. There were a few of these. NFL Quarterback Club games started at this time, the 16-bit era.
I
We
have
had
that on my list.
NFL Quarterback Club, and then NFL Quarterback Club 2, and NFL Quarterback Club 96. I remember playing NFL Quarterback Club 2 on the Genesis a bit. And the thing that made them stand out, of course, they call it Quarterback Club because during the Pro Bowl week or weekend, they always had the quarterback challenges or skills contest, and they incorporate that as a thing to do in the game, where you could just do like all these throwing the football at target contests, see how far you can throw the football, and all these kind of like obstacle courses. As a mini game you can do on the side as well as the main football game. I actually played them a lot on the original Game Boy. Too, I got NFL Quarterback Club and NFL Quarterback Club 96 on the Game Boy. I played both of those to death. And, yeah, so, I don't know. The main football game was alright, but the main attraction was just like, hey, the Quarterback Club contest. I don't know. You said you got memories of playing them, Steve?
Yeah, I do remember. I played them on the SNES versions. I think they went up to like 97. And then
97 came out, was the first one on PlayStation and Saturn.
yeah, I don't think they really lasted that long, but it was fun. I remember even watching them on TV.
Oh yeah,
the actual quarterback challenge.
Oh, nice, very nice. All right, give me another one, Steve-O.
I think it's what it's called, but it's like Super High Impact Football.
Oh, nice, yeah.
That was one of my top favorite football games.
I got that on Genesis. Before there was Blitz, there was Super High Impact. I want to say, yeah, it was like one of the first kind of true arcade. Yeah, I even had arcade version, like arcade football experiences, like big hits. Wouldn't like players, if I remember right, get into brawls on the field?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Hell yeah. Crazy hits, crazy brawls. Yeah, it was fun. Anything else about that game? Kind of.
No, I just loved the brawls. It was just a fun game. They just, like Blitz. It was like Blitz, but not exactly how Blitz is now.
Right. So, let's we've kind of, people are probably wondering, hey, 16-bit era, when are you going to talk about Madden? Let's hop into Madden. They made Madden games on the SNES and Genesis going back from Madden 92 to Madden 98. Pretty big span, most of the 90s right there. So that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 Madden games on both the Genesis and Super Nintendo. Started out as John Madden Football. Just no NFL teams, no NFL players for the first couple of years. And then 94 they added the NFL teams. And 95 they had players for the last few games of 16-bit era. What was the first Madden you remember playing, Steve?
Madden 94.
94. I remember playing 92 and 93 briefly at friends. But yeah, I think like the first one I really played was a lot was 97 on the Genesis.
I think mine was 96.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so let's see here. Gosh, where do we start on Madden? What made Madden fun for you? Was it like the standout football game of that era for you?
It was probably the most standout game I saw, and actually had all the teams and all the players. Mm-hmm. You could easily trade them without no salary cap. I don't know, it was just a lot of fun. It was kind of weird buttons to press your receiver, do your little spin moves, but it was a lot fun to play.
EA Sports, that's when they started their motto they still use today. It's in the game.
EA Sports, it's in the game.
Trying to make it as EA Sports try to focus on making their games as realistic as possible. And they even managed to do that in the 16-bit era by having audibles. I think they were the first football game to do audibles. And more in-depth substitutions and trades. And I remember like the first few Madden games having that crazy window passing, so you can really see farther down the field.
Like Y, B, or A.
And that never worked for me. I liked it when they went windowless I think it was 95.
Yeah.
See farther downfield, and players started to look a heck of a lot better. So I thought it was a great looking game. Let's see here. I remember on the Super Nintendo, I remember I played Madden 97 a lot on both the Genesis and Super Nintendo. And both games kind of played differently a little bit. I mean, they look kind of the same, but like both kind of like the SNES version. I think the Genesis played better playing, but like the Super Nintendo had like had better graphics. Genesis there's more like flickering and graphical flicker. Super Nintendo had the cool Mode 7 rotation whenever there was an interception, and of course we started getting. And just like it just looked better, like more detailed. Like it had like all the teams like painted end zones with their team name painted in their colors. It had banner signs hanging over the walls, and Genesis is just the generic colored end zones of the team's color. And
what I've noticed as well is like the photos of the players. Like it'll show like Steve Young passes to Jerry Rice, and it'll show like Steve Young's picture, or it'll show like Jerry Rice caught like 20 passes, and it was like that's what really got me, like actual players' photos.
Yeah,
it was really awesome. That's why I'm like the biggest Madden fan now.
Oh yeah, and just trying to win the Super Bowl. That was freaking just good stuff back then. Just playing one season. That's all we liked back then. People are spoiled today, Steve, with their franchise modes and their be a player mode. See, back then we just had one season, and that was it.
Yeah.
That's all. I want to know. I know you're probably a hardcore franchise player, but how many people do you think nowadays they go into franchise mode or whatever, and they play more than one NFL season? I usually just play one. Maybe I'll get a little ways into my second.
5 seasons.
5 seasons, yeah. I don't like to do simming seasons, so.
I like to sim some of them. I just don't like spending all the time playing each game.
That's true. That is true. Oh, yeah, I thought it was cool. Madden games, I think were the first football games I remember to have injuries on the field.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I get a player injured, and I remember on the Genesis version, too, specifically, it sounded like a person was shuffling a deck of cards, and that was the sound effect for an injured player. And the person would get injured, and they'd be out for weeks. You miss them for your season. So that was really, really a cool feature for the time.
And another one for like the Madden was like John Madden's voice. Like,
Yep.
You hit, all of a sudden you just hear a boom.
Yep.
Like, it was just it was good commentary. Like later on, they had Pat Summerall too,
Yep.
and it was probably like the two best commentators ever in football.
Well, I remember for 97 and 98, the two I played a lot on the 16-bit era, they had them both doing commentary. And I know you always heard people saying like the last games that had Madden in there, Madden would just like, Madden doesn't say too many things. He's getting old. They need to replace him. But on the 16-bit days, he only had like maybe 100 words he only had like maybe a few dozen lines he'd say in the game. But they didn't. You only heard him a handful of times throughout the game, and it was just, boom, he's on his back. It's like, got a kick out of that every time. It was part of the package. So, all right, let's move on to a different game here.
Actually, I had one more game to throw in that era.
All right, go ahead.
I don't know if you remember this, but it's also my top games. Not my top 5, but up there. Mutant League Football.
I was gonna say, I got
that.
a feeling I got a couple more to mention. Yeah, that was one of them. I played a lot of Mutant League Football.
That was the most awesomest game ever.
I mean,
it wasn't a professional football. It was just a lot of fun little tricks he could do on the field.
Kill the ref play.
Yeah.
Or bribe the ref. Bribe the ref. That was like the best. It got old after a while, but you couldn't help yourself to do it. And you pick bribe the ref play and. While you're on defense or whatever, and all of a sudden the ref would be, penalty for illegal farting on the field. Your offense, and you're like, all right, you know what? I'm killing the ref. And I remember being cool too, because remember you can actually like players had health bars, and if you gave them enough late hits, they'd be killed, eliminated from the competition, and you could win a game by just killing off enough players on the other team. Gosh, yeah. That game. Dude,
That was an awesome
so many
game.
good memories. So many awesome memories. It's a shame they haven't tried making another one of those. They don't need a license, NFL license or anything.
It'd just be awesome, like, have like a current like version of Mutant League Football.
Well, there's kind of one. We'll get to that later, though. Do you remember Madden when they used to let you do late hits?
Yep.
The 16-bit era? Yeah, before the NFL started cracking down on that. Oh, all right. I got a couple others to mention here. Nothing that I played a lot, but I thought I had some like Genesis and Super Nintendo exclusives here. Let's see here. I know we already kind of Capcom's MVP football, NFL football, just kind of games I vaguely remember playing way back when. No real terrific memories of either of them. On the Genesis, we just hit Mutant League Football, which I really wish they'd re-release today. Mike Ditka Power Football.
Oh.
Remember that guy?
I remember that.
Yeah, Ditka Ball.
Did not like that.
Yeah. I that's another one I may have played it once at a friend's, but I remember it, if I just throw it on there. And, of course, we'd be remiss if we didn't mention the Joe Montana games on the Genesis. There was 5 of them. They kind of had some weird numbering. It was Joe Montana's Football 1, 2, and 3. The Joe Montana's Football 93 and 94. Well, actually, it was called NFL 94 starring Joe Montana. I played that one a lot. NFL 94.
So he was with the Chiefs.
Yep.
I remember that game.
He was on the cover. Yep. As first game on the cover as a Chiefs player. And all the later ones was like, oh, it's a sports talk football with Joe Montana. And, I thought this was always interesting. I remember reading how, Sega was, for the first Joe Montana football game, Sega went to Electronic Arts. It was published by Sega, but Electronic Arts actually worked on it. They made the game, the first one, because Visual Concepts was supposed to be making the first Joe Montana football game. And, but Visual Concepts, they're having problems. They couldn't get the game out the door. And, so, Sega went to EA. They're like, all right, we know you did Madden football. I think this was before they even brought out the first one on Genesis. They're like, any way you can make us a football game in X amount of time? And they're like, yeah, sure we can. So, yeah, they brought out Joe Montana football. And, the first Joe Montana game was actually made by EA. So, So yeah, I remember those were good football games too. I remember like for the first couple of years, Madden was going on. There was like a little rivalry between which was a better game, Madden or Joe Montana. So yeah. All right, Steve. With that, let's go to the N64, Saturn, and PlayStation. All right, Steve. Let's start things off, man. Give us a random PlayStation 64 Saturn football game.
PlayStation, I play this a lot. It started beginning from 98.9 Sports. It was NFL Game Day.
Yep.
Wasn't a much fan of it. I played a couple of the years of them. Didn't mind it. And then I just got irritated because they kind of moved. When you tried to do like a juke, it was just a weird way to move with your controller.
It's like this messed up animation.
Yeah.
I don't have great memories of the Game Day series. I think I maybe only played one of them on the PS1. I want to say it was like maybe Game Day 98 or 99. I know for the first few years they did really good on PS1 until Madden upped their game on PS1. But because I remember when Madden came out, they were sprite-based, and like Game Day was polygonal-based still. And the very first Game Day was polygonal-based, and just like, I remember people just saying the graphics were never out of this, just like a whole nother level above Madden. And actually, Madden 96 was actually canned. There was supposed to be a PS1 version of Madden 96 first, football season PlayStation was out. But, the first NFL Game Day came out to such rave reviews that, and EA was just unhappy with the way their first Madden game was coming out for PS1 that they canceled it, so.
That's when 97 started.
97 started, yeah. So, I guess we could say transition this to Madden on the PS1 and 64 and Saturn. Madden 97 and 98 were just sprite-based graphics, but like bigger, more detailed sprites than you'd get on the 16-bit era.
I think it went up to 2001.
Oh, they went longer than that.
On PS1, though?
They went up to 2005 on PS1.
Oh, that's right.
But they stopped adding extra features by like 2003 or so, 2002. Like, I think the last few years they added in that feature where you play 16-bit Madden with updated rosters.
See, I didn't play like the newer versions of Madden. I played up till 2000.
Yep.
And then I started progressing, which we'll get to later.
I played 97 and 99 a lot. I had friends. We played a ton of those too. This year, I believe 97. It is sprite-based. I remember we still had a good time with it. And I remember like the first couple of years of Madden too, like they filmed all these full motion video thing.
Oh,
I remember of Madden, and some were all actual video footage of them hyping up the game, doing like a NFL, like a pre-game show for the game.
That's what kept me hooked with the Madden series. It was those videos, and it was like it kept changing. It every year was changing, and it was just awesome. Like Madden was just awesome.
And then with only Madden 99, third game on the Madden game on the PlayStation, Game Day was still doing huge numbers, and EA was like, all right, we got to change it up. We got to do something different. So to compete with Game Day, Madden completely changed its whole engine. And, I was thinking to these last couple console generations, PS2, PS3, they kind of stuck with the same engine, and they just kind of tweak it and make little additions to it over the years. But this was just a couple years into the PlayStation lifecycle. A couple additions in the Madden, and they're like, you know what, we need to start from scratch again. I thought it was very admirable of them to do it this way. And Madden 99, polygonal graphics. I remember it looking great. And the other big thing they added from Madden 99, Steve? Think of anything off the top of your head? What big feature made is still in there today?
Oh, boy.
It's franchise mode debuted.
Oh, that's right.
And I remember I was playing with a buddy. I'd play with at my friend's house. I'd play his franchise mode with him. I'd be on the same team, and we'd kind of go through his season. And I just thought it was this revolutionary new mode. I'm like, oh, it's like season mode, but forever. And we could sign our own players, make trades in between seasons. This is great. And yeah, just one of a kind. And at that point on, I remember the Madden pushed the PS1 to its limits because I remember it'd take forever to load up the menus at that point, and it started to get clunky in some areas. But I remember for the time, Madden looking good and just being a blast to play. I played the N64 versions, which kind of ran a little better, looked a little less jaggier, but I played it a lot on the PS1. I don't know. Did you get a Madden you played to death on the PS1, Steve?
I played a lot of 97 and 99.
Oh, same as me.
Yep,
Okay.
And then
Were you like me then?
2000 too.
Where you noticed the big jump in graphics kind of went with it, and
Yeah.
you play a lot of franchise mode also?
I did a lot. I kind of like did my own team and like traded them. Kind of wanted like my fantasy roster, but I totally forgot that was the beginning of the franchise mode that year.
And Madden and Pass on, another benefit of going to CD storage with a bigger storage capacity besides more video footage. You can fit more commentary, and they didn't say they don't say as much commentary as we know today. It's kind of constant flowing commentary, but we kind of started to get a little more than what we were used to in the 16-bit days. But it was kind of sporadic when we'd get commentary from Summerall and Madden, and it was so different and odd that I remember, for some reason, I got to share this, but I remember playing one game, Madden 99, and me and my buddy were big Niners fans, and one of us would always pick the Niners. And for as often as we pick the Niners, I still find it absolutely just ridiculous that we only heard this one line of commentary just once from the many, many games we played in Madden 99. And it was the middle of the game, in between plays, and all of a sudden, Madden starts rambling like only Madden can, and I swear this is what he said. I was talking to Steve Young's dad, and Steve Young's dad was telling me he was riding with Steve Young on the team bus the other day, and he said the team bus isn't all that great. He said it's pretty stinky, run down, they need a new bus. So yeah, I thought it was a pretty interesting conversation I had with Steve Young's dad. And it was like that, but it went on for like 3 times as long. It was like this 30 to 40 second spiel about talking to Steve Young's dad about the team bus, and I'm like, thank you, Madden. Thank you. I don't know, do you have any just moments like that from those days?
Not that I know of.
Oh, it was crazy, dude. I played those to death. But all right, let's talk about other football games from that era. You got another series or you played on the?
Everybody's got it's out. It was out for 64 and PS1, and then I know for the arcade too, Blitz.
Oh, of course. Yep.
Loved NFL Blitz.
Yeah. I know many, almost any non-sports fan or non-sports gamer fan. If they say if they have played one sports game, it's usually Jam or Blitz, or both. That's it though.
It was the greatest football game ever. To have that action, I think it was 4-on-4.
No, I think it was 7-on-7, I want to say. I remember 3 linemen, quarterback, running back, and 2 receivers. Yeah.
And then you could do late hits, skip points and stuff. That was awesome.
They brought back the late hits and just these crazy moves. I remember the developers of Blitz saying before the game was supposed to ship, they even had way more violent tackles and animations in there. And NFL representative came down right before the game was supposed to ship, and they're like, yeah, you gotta take some of this stuff out. So they had to delay the game a little bit, take out some of the more violent animations and stuff in there. And, I remember playing it a lot with friends over the years, but I never owned a version on the on the N64 or PS1. I just kind of played it a lot of buddies over the years. I never had one version I played to death in particular, because it always seemed like whenever I went to a friend's house, they always had a Blitz, and that's just a game that was fun to play with against a friend. I don't know, do you got a version in particular? I know that they released several, I want to say 99, 2000, 2001, I think they were on the PS1 and 64.
There was not a particular version of the game that I liked a lot. I just really enjoyed playing the crap out of that game.
Yeah.
Either years or whatever, it was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely the best arcade-style football experience. Still, that era of Blitz. All right, you got another one, Steve-O?
Kind of the same thing as Blitz, but it was NFL Extreme. That was kind of like a Blitz game, but...
Yeah, that was a 989 version. That was 5-on-5, I remember.
That's probably why I got mixed up, but that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think they did a couple of those. Anything that one did in particular that it did better over Blitz? Or
Not really. I just thought both of them were compared.
Good for the time. I can already reference there was Quarterback Club 97 for that generation. You play that one?
I didn't play that one.
That was for PS1 and Saturn, actually. And but Quarterback Club 98 through 2001, well, the last couple also came out on Dreamcast, but all of them were exclusive on the N64. 98 and 99 were, at least. I remember I played a ton of Quarterback Club 98. I don't know, usually I would have got Madden, but I remember for that year they made a big deal about it. There was Quarterback Club 98, and then there was Madden 64. Instead of it being called Madden 98, it was called Madden 64, and that was because Madden, for at least the N64 versions anyways, Acclaim paid big money to get the exclusive rights to NFL games, or to have the NFL license on N64 games for that year. And, the Madden games still had the players, but so I was like, all right, I had N64, so I was like, well, I want the NFL teams and players, so I'm going to pick the N64. And played it to death. I remember Marv Albert was the announcer. It was probably the first football game I played, which had real nonstop running commentary. And I remember being a good playing football game for the time too. My only complaint I remember, oddly enough, was that passes floated in the air forever, and I don't think the game. And let's see here. I remember I played the season mode a few times. I had a lot of fun with that, just. I think that at that point they took out the quarterback challenge mode out of the game, but I remember too. I reviewed well too. The first Quarterback Club did better than the Madden, and I played the other ones briefly, but Quarterback Club 98 was the one I played the most from that generation. So I don't know. Did you ever play in the Quarterback Club games on 64, Steve?
No, just the SNES Genesis.
Okay. Let's see here. I got NFL Extreme. Let's talk about some of the alternative sport non-NFL games. Do you got any of those? What about college football games? You play any on the PS1?
I played some Ncaa Football.
Yep.
That was alright. That's the same makers of Madden by EA.
Yep.
So
that's when it started to become known as just NCAA football. Yeah. And those went from 98 to 2001. Anything at that point did they
kind of have the same Madden play?
But by that point, did they do
it's a little bit more fun. I guess you could on fourth down. I think they have a thing where fourth down you have to go for it back in the day.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember it really, like the PS1 days.
Well, yeah, I guess it is going back a bit.
Yeah, I'm more up to the current college football.
Yeah, they did. They didn't release any college football games on N64 or Saturn, but I guess I just thought the market for it was only on the PS1, which is understandable because PS1 was just the dominant system at that time. But yeah, we had NCAA football in 98 to 2001, and we also had 989 did a college game too. We had NCAA Game Breaker from 97 to 2001. Yes. So I never played any of the college games from that era though. But there was an alternative college game I did play on the PS1. Not college, but a non-NFL game. Kurt Warner's Arena Football Unleashed.
That's right. I thought it was on PS2.
Yep.
But I remember. Well, I know they made more Arena Football, but I remember Kurt Warner.
Yep. First Arena Football game, official one. There was supposed to be one for the Jaguar, but it got canceled. Of all things for us, alternative and niche as a sport, the Arena Football is, to release it on the Jaguar, I think they were out of their minds. And I think there was kind of like an unofficial, like text-based game on the Commodore 64 when the Arena Football was really getting started. But yeah, this was like the first major mainstream arena football game. And it was put out by Midway, so it used the Blitz engine, which is kind of appropriate for the time, you think. But it lacked that polish, I think the NFL games did. I think they kind of put like maybe the BT Midway guys go in, maybe their interns are like, all right, all our main sports guys are working at NFL Blitz, you work on arena football. And I thought it was kind of cool because, you know, it incorporated arena rules, and so you had like only a 50-yard field, wall tackles, and you had the unique end zones of the field goal nets of the arena football. And since it wasn't the NFL, arena football, they let Midway get more creative, more sinister-looking tackle animations and stuff. I don't know. So wasn't really one of those games I'd play marathon sessions for. They had a season mode, I remember, but I'm like, I'm not going to do a season of arena I can't do a season mode of like Midway style football.
Yeah, I've only run it a couple times. I didn't really mind it. It was just fun with the shortage of the field, and brought you back to Blitz kind of way.
Mm-hmm. All right, so I think we got PlayStation, Saturn, and 64 covered here. I guess let's talk about the Dreamcast, because I don't know what generation to lump it in, since it kind of came out right in between it. Well, when the last year or two, the 64 and PS1 were kicking, but by the time the PS2 came out, it pretty much killed it. But all we had for Dreamcast, well, we had a couple Blitz games, which were just like 64 and PS1 ports. Same with the Quarterback Club 2000, 2001, which were just ports of the N64 games. But NFL 2K through 2K1 and 2K2.
I thought there was up till 2K3.
On Dreamcast only did through 2K2. There's also a college football 2K2 they did, but yeah. Holy crap. Damn. Did these change the way football games were forever?
They did.
What was your first memory of 2K football?
Oh no, I just really liked the graphics, the motivation, the movements on it. The gameplay was awesome.
Yeah. Like, I thought the leap, there wasn't that big a leap when we went from 16-bit football to 32-bit football. We saw a little bit of a leap from Madden, like, 98 to 99 when they went polygonal. Or even Game Day, there was a little bit of a leap, but not that, but the leap compared from that era to 2K football, I just remember them looking I remember of course, that was like 11 years ago. I was living at my mom's still, and I was playing it. She kind of walked by and she goes, "Is that an actual game, or is that like a real football?" "No, this is a video game." And she was very impressed at how lifelike it looked. And the first few 2K football games too, they actually played a little, like kind of like combination of sim and kind of arcadey, not really arcadey, but kind of the players would actually dive a lot farther for tackles, so it was real accessible too, and not too hardcore sim like too. So I remember me and my friends played it to death. I remember really liking the playbooks for the original ones, though it kind of sucked in 2-player because you would really easily be able to tell what player you're picking. So just great, and it looked great. And another thing that stood out about those early 2K football games that that just the first football games that had great commentary. They hired voice actors to do the commentary instead of NFL announcers who would just come in there, kind of phone in all their lines and not sound natural. They brought on these two guys they used for all the 2K football games, and I remember Dan Stevens and Peter O'Keefe. They'd sound super enthusiastic, really into what they were saying, and they just kind of have this natural ebb and flow to all their commentary. And of course, who can never forget? You can't coach that. Is it right, Steve? You know what I'm talking about? You can't coach that, Dan. Anything else those football games did for you that kind of stuck out for you?
None. Basically you kind of said everything about it.
I remember 2K1, I guess you could say some of the 16-bit football games had it with the X-BAM modem, but like 2K1 football is probably like the first major football title to have online play without like some extra accessory or like additional online phone charge you had to worry about. But I remember playing some NFL 2K1 football online a bit there, and it worked and it was good. It was a lot of fun. Oh, yeah, and the presentation was great, too. Real quality replays, camera angles, just, oh, yeah. I can gush about 2K football forever. So. All right, well, let's get on to the PS2, Xbox, and GameCube, our current era. Gosh, all right, Steve, why don't we kick things off? Pick a game or series to talk about.
Arena football.
All right. You play them?
Yeah, I did play them.
Both of them?
I did play both of them.
Right.
I liked them a lot, actually.
Hell yeah. What did they do to make them stand out from the PS1 game?
I think it was just a lot more detailed. You actually have like a story mode. I think there was a story mode in there.
I don't remember. Not that I remember. I could be wrong.
But basically, graphics were awesome. Good gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I thought it was going to be a let me down, but no, I was impressed.
I actually threw in the second Arena football game, Road to Glory, yesterday. I played a whole game for a refresher. Yeah, dude, it's still fun to play. I ended up winning with a score of like 96-14 because like I think if I started a season actually because the second Arena football game added the Arena Football Development League, Arena Football 2, the second division, which had way more teams. So there's like a total of like 50 teams or something in the game, and yeah, I had a lot of fun playing it, and I think maybe that's the story. Was that the story mode you were thinking of? Like, I created a team, and like, if you do good in Arena Football 2, you can advance them to Arena Football 1.
Yeah.
So I only played one game into the season, but it's got a feel for it again. And, you know, this one was put out by EA, not Midway, but, you know, it's Arena Football. It's a fast-paced style, so it almost played arcade like Blitz style as it was meant to be. And I remember it had, like, just the wall tackles. You could tackle a person over the wall and into the stands, which was just awesome. And you could bounce missed field goals or punts or kickoffs could bounce off the net and into the players. Just a lot of fun. And there's no commentary though. It was just the PA announcer, which I thought was weird. I don't know what was up with that, but yeah. I don't know, anything else you want to touch on Arena Football?
Not really. You probably.
I'm sorry, dude. I end up gushing. I just played it last night, so just kind of.
You played it more than I did, so you basically gave it more words than I could explain it.
All right, why don't you go ahead with another game?
Blitz League.
Oh, okay. Well, before we touch on Blitz League, why don't we talk about... They did a few NFL blitzes, too, for PS2, Xbox, and GameCube. I believe we had Blitz 22, 23, and Blitz Pro.
I thought they did up to 09. I'm
talking about just for PS2 and Xbox. Oh. And then we have Blitz League 1 and 2, which I guess were kind of like the 09 version, but yeah, Blitz 20, NFL Blitz 22, 2003, and Blitz 2004 is just called Blitz Pro. Because they called it Blitz Pro because they actually changed it to have 11-on-11 football. Try to make it a little more sim-based, but still have kind of some of that arcade feel. I actually have NFL Blitz Pro, but I haven't opened it because it has Terrell Owens on the cover. I was just like, I just picked it up actually within this past year, and it's just like, all right.
He's my quarterback.
Love Terrell Owens, Niners fan. Only game he's on the cover as a Niner, so... I'm going to leave this wrapped. Well, so did you play in the NFL versions of Blitz, or did you?
Yeah, I played them. I didn't mind. I liked them a lot. They were just not as much as fun as the old Blitz was.
Yeah.
More arcade.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they kind of started to lose their way, which is it was cool because when EA got the exclusive NFL license, Midway was like, well, we're just going to do Blitz the League. And why don't you talk about that?
That was really fun. They kind of brought back Lawrence Taylor, which was like an old
Hardcore.
hardcore NFL linebacker back in the day.
Those were doing some dirty deeds.
But like, basically, story mode's awesome. You create this guy, comes back from injury, trying to heal him up, bring him back in as a rookie. I think you could do either a pro or a rookie, and then you just do all these little achievements for every game. And the graphics were amazing. I really loved it. I still own it, and I'll play it.
Yeah. I remember, like, too, the story was penned by a guy that worked on the acclaimed ESPN show Playmakers. Which we know is just like the Blitz story mode talked about a lot of the kind of like the dirty, edgier side of the NFL that you probably don't want to hear about behind the scenes. I remember too the Blitz League game. Why don't you talk about the whole big? You could give your players steroid shots if I remember right.
Yeah, yeah, you give them like steroid shots. You could heal them the right way. I love the little cut scenes where, like, if you're like a defensive end and you run and tackle your quarterback, and it'll cut to a cut scene where you'll injure them. It'll show like your spine getting snapped or a leg, or and it's either when they're injured, they give you an option where you could, steroid, get back in the game, or let it heal for 2 weeks, or you're out for the season.
Yeah,
it was just a lot of fun.
Yep. Heck yeah. That's cool, yeah. You don't see too many NFL games doing that cinematic story mode.
It kind of reminded me of the movie,
games, yeah. Any Given Sunday?
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Hell yeah, I love that movie. Yeah. I guess, there was supposed to be another game like Blitz League on PS2, actually. 989, they were, after the NFL got the license, they were working on an unlicensed sports game called Road to Sunday. And, they released a trailer for it. You could probably find it on YouTube or wherever, but it showed kind of like similar to Blitz League, kind of like dirty dealings on like the pro football side, stuff that goes on behind the scenes. If I remember right, they were promoting some kind of like gambling system, like you can actually gamble on games and stuff. But the game got canceled, I guess, at the final hours, so never got to see it, unfortunately. So I guess I'll go next. I'll touch on the NFL Game Day series. It was kind of, unfortunately, things did not go well for the Game Day series this generation. I guess I just couldn't make the leap from the PS1 to the PS2 properly. I played NFL Game Day 2004. I remember I had to review it, and you could probably search and find my review floating around online. I had to review it, and I remember not being impressed with 2004. I remember they actually added a lot of online features that year. Like, you actually have, like, online message boards and messaging systems for all 989 games and stuff. It was crazy. But, regardless, wasn't too impressed. And, that was the last year Game Day came out. Actually, on the PS2. Oddly enough, I mentioned Madden went up to 2005 on the PS1. Game Day went up to 2005 on the PS1. The last year, there was, third parties, besides EA, can make NFL games. Game Day came out on the PS1, and it didn't come out on the PS2. It was weird. It was weird. I don't know why they didn't just simply, if they're making a PS1 game, well, if we're gonna give up, why don't we at least just update the rosters and pump out a game? I don't know. I don't get it. All right, Steve, I'll throw it back to you.
How about the beginning of Madden?
Oh yeah.
2001.
And it's still going.
And this was actually 2001 was actually the first year where they started doing NFL players on the covers.
Yeah, that's right.
Eddie George, the former Titan.
Madden curse started. Well, actually, you could say it started a year earlier. Here's another super geek fact. You know who was supposed to be on the cover of Madden 2000? Barry Sanders.
Oh.
But he retired early. But you could I think if I remember right, his silhouette is in the background or something like that. But so the man curse started early, but it officially started. Yeah, Eddie George was on the cover. Titan. There you go. I picked it up for launch. I remember. Yeah, I played the crap out of it. How did you like Madden's debut on PS2?
I really enjoyed it. It was a lot more better graphics.
Big leap.
big giant leap on graphics. Gameplay was awesome.
Yep, I remember just super smooth. And
I mean, there was not a whole lot going on that game. I mean, you know, there's a franchise mode and everything, but
well, yeah, it brought all the modes over.
Yeah.
And unlike, you know, like on the PS3 and 360, first Madden games kind of started out very bare bones. They didn't retain a lot of the features by the end of the PS2 Xbox life cycle, but PS2 version had, you know, everything that the PS1 version had. You had your franchise mode, you even had a single season mode, and you know, that's pretty much all you could ask for back then. Plus, it kind of even introduced a couple of new things, like the player cards. Remember the first few Maddens?
Yep.
Player cards for cheats and stuff like that. And, or Madden cards, that's like Upper Deck Madden cards, which is like their cheat system. And, I remember, before there was Ask Madden, it was just Ask Coach. And I remember too, Madden 2001, that was the first game that had challenges. I think that was probably around the time they debuted in actual NFL play too, but they were just randomly, they occurred at random. I think it only happened to me twice from all the games I played in Madden 01. It would say, oh, there was a controversial call, would you like to challenge it? You remember that happening at all?
I don't really remember.
Yeah. But yeah, franchise mode was pretty cool still, and yeah, graphics got a huge bump, and commentary was getting better too, so a lot of cool stuff. And well, what about throughout the years as Madden went on, marched on throughout the years?
It was getting better, and then 2005 just got I think it was either 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say it's mostly 5 when they started the hit stick.
Yep, that was a good.
That was
great
probably
addition.
when it started getting better.
Way better, yeah. Because I liked it already on this 2001. Played it a lot. You can't forget about 2004. The year before hit stick, they had playmaker control.
Oh yeah,
which is great because, you know, this is when EA really started going crazy with the right stick controls. You remember, why don't you fill people in on what playmaker control was?
That was with the analog stick, the right one. Well, basically, you could either adjust your routes, or I think you could do your playmaker, move which way you want to go.
Flip a play at the last minute.
Play up.
Or one thing that really helped me out was if I was in the pocket, seeing no receivers open, they're just sticking to the routes. I just flick the right stick, you know, call them to go farther back or come up close. So, yeah, I thought that was great.
I must say that's when they started getting the awesomest soundtracks. Was 2003?
Oh yeah, they started the EA tracks. Oh man, gotta love them or hate them. EA tracks. Oh god.
I mean, there were some bad ones, but there was a lot of good ones.
Yep. It varies throughout the year. Some years I like them, some years I don't. Commentary, of course, halfway through. A couple years into that life cycle, we lost Pat Summerall for Al Michaels. You thought I think he was an alright addition to the team. I mean, Madden and Summerall were really getting very long in the tooth by the time Summerall left. And Al Michaels kind of was a fresh voice for the ears. Online play debuted for the Madden that generation with Madden 03 on the PS2, and I think it didn't happen on Xbox to Madden 05. It took a while to get to Xbox. Played a lot of Madden. I think, you played a lot of Madden Online also, if I remember right.
Yep.
What about Owner Mode? Remember when Owner Mode debuted? You spent a lot of time in that?
Didn't really spend a lot of time on Owner Mode.
Which is just like franchise mode. But
but like basically setting your prices and...
Yeah, kind of like a sim thing. We also got mini camp mode, which is like a lot of challenges, like kind of like quarterback club style challenges.
Get trophies for getting like gold, silver, bronze, and you can unlock cards and all that with that.
Mm-hmm. What about I think Madden 05 too? This is a cool feature. Storyline Central.
Yep. I loved listening. It was like a little radio talk show host.
Tony Bruno show.
Oh, it was awesome, like hearing the coaches call in, players.
Yep.
I really missed that. That
Trivia.
was really awesome, trivia.
I think they only ran with that for a couple years in that generation?
And I think Madden 2005 there was like another edition of it. It was like the Madden Nah.
I remember they had newspapers with articles too.
They had another one where you could play old school Madden on it, and then there was a trivia game as well on there.
Yep. Cool. All right. So, any other big additions over the Madden years you want to hit on?
Not that I can't remember. I'm pretty sure there's stuff I'm missing out.
Yeah, it's a lot of ground cover. I think we got. Oh wait, no. Yeah, never mind. I think we got pretty good. What about Madden's main competition, NFL 2K?
I was just gonna say
made the jump to third-party systems with NFL 2K2. Some awesome competition there over the years.
I think it was.
Sure, that's when you got introduced to 2K football.
Yes, that's probably when I got probably played 2K4.
There you
go. I played 2K for the longest.
Yep. Warren Sapp on the cover.
Yeah, and then of course NFL 2K5.
ESPN NFL 2K5. Oh yeah. Oh my God.
That's. I don't know. You can't say anything bad about that game.
Charles on the cover.
Create your own crib. You got
the crib challenges from like freaking Steve-O from Jackass and was it Carmen Electra?
Carmen Electra, David. What's the guy?
All kind of personalities. Creating your crib was cool. Like the mini football, we unlocked the trivia machine. We played the trivia forever.
Forever. It was awesome.
It saves our high scores. Let's do trivia.
Gameplay was great. Commentary, custom soundtracks.
Yeah.
For your players or your arena.
Yeah.
It was just great.
That's cool because, I mean, me and you would be like, we'd show off each other's custom soundtracks. And I'm like, oh, this is the song I got playing. And you can have the song kick in at just the right moment for like touchdowns or first downs or sacks. And just
like if I go for a first down or a touchdown, I'll be like ludicrous, move, bitch, get out the way. Or it'd just be like a sack. Like it just, it was just awesome. Like I loved it.
Oh man, it was great. And I played a whole season in there. And that year too, the competition really fired up between 2K and EA. It was just those two. All the other football games it was just pretty much down to 2K and EA at that point. And remember that year too, the 2K5 year, all the 2K5 sports games to kind of compete with EA, really step up the competition. They all came out for $20.
Yeah, it was cheap too, and I mean, I had bought hockey. I loved the hockey, the 2K hockey. I bought the baseball. Loved that baseball. You know, it was just great. Basketball was great.
One interesting feature that debuted in 2K4, I don't know. I guess in hindsight, looking back at it, was more of a novelty. I remember playing it a few times. Thought it was kind of cool, but nothing I stuck with was first-person football. Do you remember playing that?
Where it just shows like you facing the field.
Yep.
And looking at the line and.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it was cool, but there's no commentary. Because it just wanted to capture that on-field experience, and it was cool to do like a couple times, but it was nothing I stuck with in the long run.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a cool, neat innovation to the series in the crib, and crib was another cool thing. And online 2K5 had online leagues. It had online leagues like 5-6 years before Madden got around to doing it. Gosh, yeah, and then it suffered that early death because EA got the online license and snapped it away from them.
I mean, even for me, being a big Madden fan, I loved playing 2K5.
Yeah, same here.
It was just a lot more fun to play.
I think 2003 to 2005 was great because, you know, that really intense competition between 2K and EA brought out the best in each other. I bought, usually even to this day, I still buy like maybe a Madden game every other year just to save on money and just get more out of the stuff they add each year. But like that, I think from between 2003 and 2005, I think I bought both EA's and 2K's game every year, I think, if I remember right. So man, it just goes to show you, you know, competition brings out the best instead of having the games remain stagnant and rest on their laurels.
Please bring back 2K football.
Yes. Well, they kind of did, but we'll touch on that later. Let's hit up another series here. Let's shift gears to the. Well, I guess let's stick on NFL here. You ever play this one? This is we already mentioned 99's exclusive football game. What about Microsoft's exclusive football game, NFL Fever?
That's what I was trying to think. It was Peyton Manning on the cover on games.
All three
I just
of
could
them.
not think of the name. I always kept thinking game something, but it wasn't. But yeah, NFL Fever. It was all right for a football game.
Yeah, it was around for 2002 through 2004. I remember playing the first one, and I was thinking, all right, Xbox is supposed to be super powerful. These graphics got to blow me away. I remember for some weird reason, the only thing blowing me away about the graphics was the textures of the grass. They do this awesome camera pan in on the kickoff, or just like real close post-play, little in-between cutscenes, in-between plays, and I was like, wow, that grass looks great. Everything else I thought looked all right, but for some reason the grass stuck out. And I remember I got NFL Fever 2004 for review, and I played a good chunk of it, and that actually had online leagues a year before 2K Football had it. That was the first one to do online leagues. I tried out the online leagues. I didn't really finish a season, got a few games into it, but it was alright, but I just wasn't a huge fan of it. I think at that point, just 2K, I played so much 2K and Madden, it was hard to fit in time for a third football franchise. I don't know. You play a lot of it at all, or just?
I didn't play much. I played the first two, and it was all right.
Cool. All right. So let's talk about some college football. We only had one 2K college football game, 2K3, and then I guess they decided to put all their efforts and focus on pro football. I never played that one.
I played it like a few times. I didn't mind it.
Yeah.
The only reason I bought it was because former Grand Forks student was in the game.
Oh yeah.
So
UND player?
Yeah, no, play for Wisconsin.
Oh, Bollinger was in there.
Brooks Bollinger, yeah. So I'd buy and play. I didn't really.
But
care
like, how
for
was
it.
he in there if he wasn't? You know,
It was his, I knew it was his year.
Oh, he was. They kind of had.
I knew his number. Too,
They had his
so,
number on there
yeah.
and kind of like his likeness.
But I didn't really enjoy that.
Okay. Yeah, I played I guess you could say this console generation was the only year I really got into college football. I actually played one of the NCAA Game Breaker games, 2004. Those went from 2001 to 2004, and I had 2004 to review. It wasn't that great. I remember it had some good like college presentation and atmosphere to it with like fight songs and like having like a lot of the teams represented and a lot of the college pageantry, but it just wasn't that good of a game. And EA's NCAA football was clearly the king of college football and still is. Did you play any of those a lot?
I just played a lot. I played the EA college, but I wasn't a big fan of college football yet. It was fun playing it, but I just didn't really get into it then.
Mm-hmm. There were 2 years I played quite a bit of it on, and college football rants. The first one was 2002 they did, and they're still making them on PS2, which is just crazy. But 2003 and 2004 I played a ton of. My brother-in-law and I would play a lot of Madden nonstop, and I guess one year he wanted to mix it up, and he was like, all right, I'm getting the college game. And the college game, I remember 2003 really exploded in popularity too, and I thought it was cool just because they really started going all out with delivering that college atmosphere and vibe with a lot of college-style cutscenes really involving the mascots and like cutscenes and like little entrance scenes with cheerleaders and kind of like themed events around colleges and gosh, I'm trying to think here. Oh yeah, the option was a big deal in the college game, and like a lot of the playbooks would have so many different college themed plays that you don't see in the NFL today. I remember I just keep picking Navy over and over because all of their plays are themed around the fullback. They virtually have no passing game for the Navy college, and I just said like, all right, fullback blast or fullback option. So many different fullback plays. So yeah, my brother and I played it to death, and in NCAA Football 2004, I got in that a lot too. Played that against him. Actually bought it and Yeah, that I really got into playing it online because I knew him and I knew one other guy that played it online and exchanged a lot of tips and actually got pretty decent at the game. I wouldn't say it was great, but it was it was different. I guess you could say I was picking up the Madden, 2K Football, and EA College Football. Just probably like 2003 through to 2005 was like the best 3-year span of football games I can remember in quite a while. So. All right, I think there's only one other football game I want to mention here for that gen, and that's the NFL head coach that came out there. Did you ever give that a try?
I did. I didn't mind that. It was just a lot of work to do.
You couldn't play the games, right?
No.
It's just all management.
Yeah, it's all just head coach. You have to call the play. It was all right, but I wouldn't recommend
too much management. Well, I remember even my brother-in-law asked me, he's like, I saw this NFL head coach. What have you read on it? I don't know. Is it different? And I kind of told him we just discussed, and I don't know if it'll be up your alley. I don't know if it's you get to see the football game, but you can't play it, and it's just more management stuff. So, well, give it a try. He called me, and next day later, he's like, yeah, I can't play this.
Another game I forgot to mention was NFL Streets.
Okay, yeah, I was going to mention I forgot about that one. Yeah, they did 3 of those. Yeah. I played the first one, and I still like Blitz better, but this was a good alternative.
Yeah.
Because you actually like play in alleys and stuff, and you could bounce off walls and stuff.
Yeah, catch, yeah.
Like run up the walls, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it was decent.
It's kind of like a
street ball.
Street ball mixed with like two-hand touch or something like that, like flag football.
Yeah. Kind of like EA's answer to Blitz, but kind of not as crazy. Still has its own unique version of crazy, but not as crazy. But all right, well, let's bring it to the PS3, 360, and Wii here, and pretty much the EA show. There's a few other ones we'll get to, but pretty much the EA show here. Let's focus on the EA games first, because they had the exclusive NFL license, and at this point also the exclusive NCAA license, and even the exclusive Arena Football license for a while. So. Pretty much the kings of a licensed football, and Madden, bread and butter. Let's talk about that first. Early memories of playing Madden on this generation of consoles, Steve?
Madden 08?
08, okay. I played the launch one, 06. Well, anything about Madden 08 in particular jumps out to you?
Not really, just I thought when I started playing Madden on 360, I thought the graphics were amazing. Maybe
by Madden 08. I remember by Madden 06, it didn't seem that well.
I thought the graphics were amazing. Like, the beginning, it was just like, wow. Mm-hmm. It surprised me a lot, till current now. Like, every Madden game I've noticed they added something different to it. Mm-hmm. I think this year, I think they added a couple features, but I'm trying to think. I know there was like Superstar mode.
Yeah,
awesome.
That debuted, yeah. I guess that debuted on the previous generation too, but yeah. Which is the equivalent of like Be a Pro mode or My Player mode in some other sports games you have. I remember 06 and 07, I don't know if 08 had it or not, but remember they ditched Madden and Summerall, or Madden and Michaels, and they just had, for the first couple Maddens on this current generation, they had the AM radio announcer guy. It was just one guy, very basic commentary, not that much of it, and I didn't like it. I'm glad they went to like I forget the announcers they have today, but they got like some of the Fox Sports guys, I think, and just really good commentary. So
I don't know. This year they added Chris Collinsworth, and like Al Michaels, and then there's another guy.
Oh, they brought back Michaels?
I think so. I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, I got 2010, I don't have 2011. I recognize the voices. I just forget the names. I'm horrible with announcer names. But let's see here. Yeah, I mean, they got better. The first Madden 06, I think, was kind of rushed to meet the 360 launch. But I think over the years, they kind of got more polished, more refined, and it's definitely a smoother running game. More fun, had more features. The first Madden 06, like we kind of already alluded to before, had it didn't have all the modes that like the PS2 and Xbox versions had, and they kind of worked on adding its own unique modes to the game. So, I mean, it's cool that now that the games have finally come on their own, real fun to play. I remember 08 had this cool, to take advantage of the ESPN license. They're like, oh, if you go to access ESPN on your 360, and you can go get exclusive clips for access to highlights, ESPN highlights right on your 360 there, which is what I used every week to catch up with highlights from like Sports Center through Madden 08 on my 360. So, oh yeah, and then they finally added online leagues just like a couple years ago. So, oh, and I think last year, online franchise mode debuted. So, yeah, so that's there. They're finally really fleshing out their feature set. What about Ncaa Football? You play any of those games?
I haven't played any on the 360 yet.
I think I played like 09 briefly. Just a couple of games online against my brother-in-law.
I played the demo of like Ncaa Football 11. Actually, I did play. I played 08 and 09. And then I played the demo of 11. And 11 was a lot of fun. Like, it was beginning, college football was beginning to be great. But I thought Ncaa Football 2011 was an awesome game. They keep adding different stuff, like mascot mode, where you can actually play a game with mascots. It's pretty nice. But that's all I can remember with college.
Yeah. I need to get one of them one of these years just to get back into it. I guess EA with the exclusive NFL license tried doing a few other experimental NFL games on the side here. They did, a lot of people have always been crying out for NFL arcade action, so they did Madden Arcade for downloadable for Xbox Live Arcade and PlayStation Network. I remember playing the demo for it, not being too impressed. Didn't really grab me, so still kind of prefer Blitz. And they also tried NFL Tour, which was kind of like
that.
I remember playing a demo for it, and I was like, oh, wow, this is really what they're going with, which was supposed to be like their disc-based version, follow-up successor to NFL Street. Even the NFL was cracking down on EA saying, yo, NFL Street's too arcade, like, you need to really liven it up a little bit. So they took it out of the street alley modes, and then like they had it in NFL stadiums, but tried to kind of like homogenize it and make it more non-street-like, I guess, for lack of better terms, and just did not work. Had horrible reviews, horrible ratings, and they tried Madden Arcade. That didn't work, so EA just not grabbing that arcade feel this generation. They brought back Tecmo Bowl, Steve, with Tecmo Bowl Throwback. Download form on Xbox.
That demo.
Xbox Live Arcade, PSN. I got the demo, too. I got it on DS. It's just the same game on DS with better graphics, but it's cool. It's Tecmo Bowl. But they don't have the NFL license or players, unfortunately. What about, they brought back NFL head coach again for 1 year only. I think it was 08, 09. I didn't play that version. It's head coach. I'm not going to get it. But it's there for those that like it. And I guess it's worth noting they did Madden and Espanol for 1 year. A Spanish version of Madden they released 1 year specifically. So
Weird.
I guess there was a demand for it. They tried it, tested the waters, but they haven't done another one since. So, I think it was Junior Seau was on the cover, I want to say. And Steve, you talk about Blitz League already. They did the first one on 360, and they also did Blitz League 2 on 360 PS3. I have that, though I haven't gotten a chance to play it yet. Did you get a chance to play much Blitz League 2 at all?
I didn't have a chance to play it at all yet.
Okay. Cool.
But I'm looking forward to purchasing it. I'm pretty sure it's pretty cheap.
I'm pretty sure it has another good story. Yeah, that's why I thought it was cheap, and it's like, I'm sure it has just as good as a story mode as the first game did, and same style Blitz action. And, there's actually rumors right now that EA is working on a new NFL Blitz game.
Oh, nice.
How they brought back NBA Jam just recently, and rumors are that they're working on a new Blitz game, so that's how their attempt to get into arcade football again. All right. Lastly, we kind of got a few other non-licensed games not by EA, but worth bringing up. Steve, we're already alluded saying we're talking about 2K Football came back for a year.
All Pro Football 2K8.
That's right. And, they tried their best to bring it. They didn't have the NFL license to work with, but they signed a ton of NFL legends. On the cover is Jerry Rice and John Elway.
Barry Sanders.
And Barry Sanders. What did you think of this?
I really enjoyed it. It was like the same gameplay like I played in 2K5. You have the actual players talking to each other at the coin flip.
Yep.
There's a lot of players that I didn't think that would be in it. Like you just start picking your own team. You get like your gold players, and then you start with then you go with your silver, and then your bronze, and then you just keep working your way. I really enjoyed this game. I was glad I only purchased it for $3 at my local video game store, and people were making fun of me like, "Why are you buying a 2008 football game?"
Well, it's not like Madden 08. This is like a different beast altogether.
And I was like, well, there's some legends in there, and I mean, it's brought by 2K Sports, so I was like, I gotta buy it.
Yeah. The shitty thing about it was EA was so furious at 2K coming back that they signed away a lot of the legends. 2K wanted to do another Legends football game, but EA signed away a lot of the legends that appeared in 2K8 to exclusive deals to appear in Madden football. I remember and they made very limited use of the legends being featured. This kind of had some throwaway historical look at them, and it's just like, man, you could tell they're just doing this so 2K would not make another football game. Even Peter Moore went on record saying they don't want 2K to make another football game. They fear 2K competition, even with them making a non-licensed football game. And I'm glad there's now an antitrust lawsuit, class action lawsuit against EA for dominance in football games. And I actually got a postcard in the mail because I registered my Madden football games online saying, hey, you're part of a class action lawsuit against EA. If this passes, you'll be part of it. So I was like, all right, sweet. Because I think, there's been the improvements from year to Madden this generation have been very incremental compared to previous years. I mean, they kind of have a thing or two, like where they have that, game flow they did this year, which is kind of cool, but I mean, I tried it in the demo, but it didn't, the year-to-year improvements of previous generations, at least last generation, seem better than this generation. So.
And I noticed, like, on the Madden, this year, there's a lot of advertisements for stuff.
It's
like
getting bad.
Old Spice and... Like, here's your Old Spice. Quit smelling like a man.
Well, if you think that was bad, I remember I was for like Madden 10 last one. I own always on the bottom for every play alongside the score ticker. There's an ad for Timberland shoes. It just says Timberland shoes, a little picture of a boot, a little photo there, and it's always there, even right along the ticker, right before the play hike, with the exception of like punts and kickoffs and field goals. So, all but like maybe a handful of plays in the game, you always have that ad at the bottom of the screen, and it's just distracting. I remember the first time I saw it, threw me off, and like I kept getting delay of games, and I couldn't focus on like my audibles or hot routes. So, yeah, they're getting pretty invasive with the advertising.
And, like, what I've noticed with the Maddens, too, like, I forgot to mention, like, back in Madden, like, 05, they always did, like, at the end of the thing they did, the player of the game, and here, show your stats, and then later on, they cut it out for a while, and then all of a sudden they started bringing it back, I think, in 09 or 10, they brought back the player of the game, but it was, like, who had the most points, who's threw how many receptions and all that. And I'm glad they brought that back because I didn't know who was the player of the game. Maybe I could have been a defensive guy who got 20 sacks in one game and they wanted to say anything.
Well, yeah, they're kind of bringing back old modes and labeling them as new again, which is kind of bullshit if you ask me. Like, I think, a year or two ago, they finally brought back cooperative play, like 2-on-2 football, where they took it out for like 4 or 5 years. That was a favorite thing of mine to do, was just 2-on-2 football, get 4 buddies together, 2-on-2 in Madden. You had a blast. And they just finally brought it back. And like another thing they took out was offline user records. You have online win-loss user records, but I like my offline user records. I still have every now and then buddies come over, we like to compare our user records. It's nice to have that thing there. Like, was there a Madden 08? Wasn't there a Madden 10?
And I noticed too, like, the difference with, like, the 2K and the Madden was like every quarter they show highlights. Like 2K would show, they would run the highlights of each quarter, but like ESPN started just showing like little slides.
Yeah.
And then eventually Madden got out of it and started showing like the plays and all that. Like it was awesome.
That's the thing worth mentioning real quick is that 2K had great use of the ESPN license when they had it. When EA got the ESPN license, the same year they got the NFL license, and like they barely incorporated it into the first years of games. They just had a little ESPN ticker on the bottom, and maybe just like a few ESPN personalities would be there doing voiceovers. But like as far as like having 2K went all out with the statistical overlays, like having Sports Center recaps in the last couple of 2K football games, great stuff that they didn't have that were like. Finally, like I think like Madden 11 is when they finally really started making great use of the ESPN license with statistical overlays and stuff like that, like making it more involved in their TV production scale. So, I guess last two games to bring up this generation were these two are kind of oddball ones. I've seen this for sale. I'm tempted to buy it just to try it, but BCFX. Have you heard of this one, Steve? It stands for the Black College Football Experience.
I've never even heard of it.
I've seen it sale used at GameStop a few times. It's just called Black College Football Conference or League, which is a bunch of private universities in there. And its main thing is for halftime they have like band games. I guess they have a big focus on like halftime is game time. It says on the back cover, and it's just like you could play high school or college marching band halftime mini games. So it has me intrigued. I have no idea if it's actually good, but I'm definitely intrigued to try it. This other game I did play by 505 Games that came out last year around this time called Backbreaker.
Oh, I haven't heard of that.
And I kind of talked about it on previous episodes of On Tap. They tried a lot of things different with as far as camera perspectives and just tried a lot of things different gameplay wise, but non-licensed, but they have 3 divisions, and you can work your way up the ranks for 3 seasons of football, make your own team go all out, but there's a lot of problems with the game. I mentioned it before. I reviewed it on here, but gameplay, a lot of hiccups too. I think it was a good foundation. I think they announced they did a sequel, so I hope to see them improve with time, but first game, I probably wouldn't recommend to go with it, so... But yeah, I'm sure we missed some. Like I said, we only touched on the games we played and maybe just a few other ones just for reference sake. But if you have a football game we missed somewhere along here, of course we're not covering handheld games. We're just focused on big console release stuff. If you have a game you want to talk about or mention some of your favorite football games, send us an email, mailbag@ontappodcast.com, or post in our forums, which can be found as part of the podcast network on retroids.com. We definitely want to hear what you guys have to say. And we'll close things off like we did last time. We're kind of running a little short on time here. So we're just going to quickly run these down, our top 5 football games. And we kind of cheated a little bit, as you'll hear, kind of like we did last episode. So, Steve, why don't we kick things off, man? Why don't you go down your top 5?
5, I'm going to have to say Madden 2005 to current.
Okay, this just generation of Madden, yeah.
That would probably be my number 5.
Okay. For me, number 5 would be Madden 97, both the Genesis and Super versions, for all the reasons I listed above. Those two, I played the most of that era of Madden on the 16-bit. So, what's your number 4?
It's a tie. I have Blitz and Mutant League Football.
2 best arcade style for you?
Yeah.
Cool. Number 4 for me, for all the reasons I stated earlier, NES Play Action Football. So, yeah. King of 8-bit football. What's your number 3?
I have a tie as well on
Steve.
that one. Sorry. It's the first Tecmo Bowl and Play Action Football.
Okay. Your 8-bit picks. Cool. Number 3 for me is Madden 2003 and Madden 2004. Those two I just played to death. Like I said, it's a great span for football games. So, yeah, Madden 03 and Madden 04 for PS2 and Xbox. I think I played them mostly on Xbox. What's your number 2?
ESPN 2K5 Football.
Yeah, buddy. Hell yeah, dude.
I just love the game, love the controls, love
the trivia.
Every moment trivia. I loved every moment of that game. I know a lot of people that I've talked to that are football players, and they love the 2K series.
Nice. Very nice. Good to hear. Number 2 for me is NFL 2K and NFL 2K1 on the Dreamcast. Just because those two games go hand in hand. Just for all the reasons I listed above, man. Like you just said, Steve, 2K football is a shit, and especially those first couple years, such a huge leap in quality for the series. Biggest leap in terms of generation, leap in quality going from the PS1 and N64 to the Dreamcast. Revolutionized football games. All right, what's your number 1, Steve?
Number 1 all-time favorite football game overall, Tecmo Super Bowl for the NES. I could play massive hours of that.
Yeah. Tecmo Super Bowl. Very nice. Very cool. Oh, man, it's too bad you got a limited time limit here. I'd love to show you Tecmo Super Bowl 2010. So, we'll have to do that another time, though. Number 1 for me, should be no-brainer at this point. NFL 2K4 and NFL 2K5, especially 2K5. At that point, 2K was just firing on all cylinders, just to burn an old cliche. And for all the reasons you said, Steve, we played it to death, both the football and the trivia. The crib. Oh my god, the crib. And
custom soundtrack, everything soundtrack was just awesome.
Complete package. Online play was great too.
It was worth $20.
Well worth the $20. You missed out if you did.
And nobody has it out there, please purchase it. You will enjoy it.
So, yeah, I'd say so.
Even me, coming from being a Madden fan, I personally enjoy 2K5.
Yeah.
It should be like $2.
Cool. Well, that wraps it up. Like we said, shoot us an email or post in the forums. Check mailbag at ontappodcast.com. I'm on Twitter, twitter.com/gruel. Or at gruel. So yeah. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Boom!
Hey, welcome to Sports Center. I'm Stuart Scott. And alongside me is newcomer to the program, Chet Harper.
Hey, how you doing, Stuart?
All right. Hey, Chet's more excited than Dennis Rodman at a Clinique sale. Booyah! Got your partner. Well, the Lakers and Sonics at the Forum, 2 of the favorites in '99. So who's it going to be in Y2K? Well, Shaq weighed in with his opinion. Booyah! 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 That's right. Shaq Daddy for 37 points. He sends an invitation to the finals party and it says, BYOB, bring your own booyah! The Lakers destroy the Sonics 114-82. Chet.
Thank you, Stuart. Latest talk is that David Robertson is over the hill. But in my book, you got to get to White Castle before the weirdos show up. Tonight at the Alamo Dome. He gets happy-go-Jackie on the big white guy like a donkey eating a waffle. Sweet, sassy molassy. Get out the checkbook and pay Grandma for the rub-down as the Spurs beat the Heat 86-79. Stuart.
The New Jersey Nets may be the team of the future, but tonight against the Knicks, they were the team of... right about now, the Funk Soul Brother Booyah! Jason Williams with 22 rebounds as the Nets win. Chet.
Yeah, in action late last night, Sonics versus Utah. John Stockton says, hey, look at me, I'm a little teapot, I'll run right up your dress. But then Alden Polynice says, I'm not going to pay a lot for this muffler. But then Karl Malone says, sweet, sassy molassy, you are going to pay a lot. And the cost is going to be prohibitive. Jazz win, 99-93. Stupot.
Sweet, sassy molassy.
Yeah. You like it? Don't steal it. Okay, Penguins need a win against the Bruins to get to the 500 mark. Yes, they do, but Penguin goalie Peter Scudra says, hey, try not to shoot that puck up my pooper. Yeah, but check out this guy on the Bruins. He says, I'll shoot the puck anywhere I want. And if that happens to be in your pooper, so be it. Stumanji.
We'll be right back. We're back in a minute 30, guys. Yeah, thanks, Bobby. Yeah, man, what are you doing there?
What?
What was all that stuff about the puck in the guy's pooper?
I'm just riffing, man, that's all.
Riffing, huh? Come on, man, this is the big leagues, all right? This is Sports Center. You can't do that stuff here, all right?
You say booyah.
Yeah, I do. You just calm it down, all right? Just stick to sports.
All right. All right, I'm sorry. You're right. You're right. Sweet, sassy molasses, you're right.
Yeah, we'll talk about that one later, okay? And 4, 3, 2. Welcome back. Let's go to the world of women tennis, where Anna Kournikova was taking the court against a...
Oh, she's hot.
Nice.
She's hot.
Challenger.
She's hot. I don't know about you, but my peenie just went, huh?
Okay, let's skip that one. Let's skip that. Let's try hockey. The Phoenix Coyotes are having the best year in history, and it's all due to the play of one Jeremy Roenick. Roenick shoots, he scores.
And he celebrates like a slave who made it to the north. Old man river, that old
You better watch
man
what you're saying,
river.
man.
You better watch what you're saying.
Yeah, we'll be right back. And we're out now. Thanks, Stevie. All right, look, that's it. Listen, you're done. Just get out of here. I'll do the rest of this myself.
Well, Sweet Sassy Molassie, I'm trying my best here.
Sweet Sassy Molassie, get him out of here before he says that again.
All right, come on, let's go. Wait, all right, I'll go. Well, let me just say one thing. I always wanted to be a sports anchor. Yet clever metaphors and catchphrases escape me. Like a fat girl waving her trophy from the smell contest. But I want you to listen here. I'm not giving up, all right? I'll be back. If it takes me 200 years, I'll be back. Lord Sweet Pappy Johnson with an erection. I will be back.
No, you won't.
Yeah, you're probably right.